And let me hit record here. All right, we ready?
Episode 599.
Yep, I changed it. I actually remembered to change it. You should be shocked. Okay. Here we go. On this episode of the Culturesmash cast,
dinosaurs.
The knife is out and we got a bloody title.
And don't ink yourself. Squid Games is going live.
I just inked.
Oh, guys, you made me ink.
It's the Culturesmash cast, episode 599 for June the 15th, 2022. I'm Stephen Lackey, editor of Culturesmash.tv. Nico?
Nicholas Qualls, contributor to Culturesmash.tv.
Tina?
Tina Qualls, contributor to Culturesmash.tv.
And back to the show after long last.
Nathan Savino, contributor to Culturesmash.tv.
Yay, Nathan!
He has returned.
The prodigal son.
The prodigal dumbass. And I made him, with a sinus infection, literally, I think I made him go see Jurassic World last night so we could have this discussion.
I was like, do I have to go? We're going to talk about it on podcast. And I was like, I don't feel good. He's like, well, prepare for spoilers. I'm like, it's my favorite franchise. Well,
you're missing part of the story. Right. This son of a bitch right here messaged me over the weekend, said, I'm going to go see it tomorrow. And I'm like, okay, shit. So I rearranged everything to make sure I could get out of the house and see it yesterday. And then I talked to him and he's like, yeah, and he's like, no, I'm too sick. I don't want to see it. I'm like, damn it, son of a bitch. Everyone else has seen it. So he went out and did it. So now we can have a Jurassic discussion.
Jurassic, we can. You bet Jurassic we can. There we go.
Oh, wow.
There you go.
No.
Wow.
I'm tired.
It was pretty. It was a good try. It was a good try.
It's been a day.
Nature finds a way.
It really does. So what did you guys get into over the weekend? Anything interesting?
We had to watch A Dozen Boys.
Oh my God.
And that's not as weird as it sounds. Our nephews had their birthday party at our house this weekend, and they invited a bunch of their friends. So our nephews are now 14.
We had 12 14-year-old boys just going.
And then we had the bright idea to let each of them have 2 boys each. So there were 6 kids total.
We had the bright idea of letting them have one friend, but one of them invited one person and a set of twins, which the other twin was invited to the birthday party. So that would have been awkward.
Yeah. So anyway, there were 6 kids at our house overnight. It was nuts.
Yeah. Only one of them slept on the giant couch. 3 of them slept on the floor.
Yeah.
Weird.
And then the next day, we went to go see Jurassic World.
Yep.
The microphone's sinking, so keep talking.
That's all they did this weekend.
What did you do?
I battled a sinus infection.
You choked. That's what you did.
And had to call out of work, and then I died and came back to life.
I literally, other than seeing Jurassic World, haven't really done that much. How sad is that?
You got that much. How are you doing on your pushing 100?
So that puts me at 45 movies, which is literally exactly where I should be.
I was about to say, you're roughly on target.
Mark.
Yeah.
We're about halfway through the year.
You have a good pacing going. Yeah.
Yeah, so far we're doing really good.
Yeah.
I don't I know when Zach tried to do this, he's stressed out, but so far it's okay. And the thing is, what I told him is the year he did it was the second year, I think, of Movie Pass. There were a lot more movies coming out in theater than there are now.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I did see a couple things, but we'll talk about that when we get into box office.
And we officially switched from Regal Unlimited to AMC A-List.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, we'll get into our experience at the AMC we were at later when we get.
Oh boy!
Yeah, I'm interested to hear about that.
Yeah.
But first, we want to say a special thank you to Skinny Mixes for supporting the Culturesmash cast. Skinny Mixes are coffee and dessert syrups that are 0 sugar, 0 calories, and 0 to 2 carbs. Head on over to skinnymixes.com and try some of their delicious syrups, such as white chocolate, salted dark chocolate, salted caramel, and the variety of cocktail mixers they offer, including margarita and fruit flavors. Use promo code Culturesmash for 15% discount on your order. And like I always say, if you spend $50, you get free shipping. I am currently enjoying this deliciousness right here. This is
Spiced cranberry.
Yeah, it's spiced cranberry infusion. So it's kind of like concentrated cranberry. I have that with some lemon lime sparkling water and 2 shots of vodka. Let's go.
That sounds like a weird Christmas limeade.
It does, and it tastes like that too, which is amazing. Nathan is so jealous right now because he's on antibiotics.
No.
I can't drink.
Not with that attitude.
No.
Delicious. All right, so let's talk about some stuff because we got 2 big discussions to get into. Let's get into the box office, and then we'll quickly and painfully cross over Fantasy Film Ball numbers.
Mm-hmm.
Number 10 is Anti-Sunbaraniki.
Sundaharaniki?
Sundaharaniki. Yeah, that sounds right. Sundaharaniki.
Yeah, that sounds pretty good. I'm gonna assume this is like a Bollywood
It's a
film.
Bollywood.
Yeah, it has to be. Yeah.
$620,000 it opened with, which is pretty good.
Yeah.
Number 9, and that was opening weekend. Number 9 is Sonic the Hedgehog 2. It made another $750,000. It's made 100. Wait, did I cut something off here?
You cut off how many weeks?
Is that it?
Yeah.
So, okay. So it's made 189 million, almost 190 million so far.
Yeah.
I say that because the number of weeks is going to become important in a few minutes. Number 8 is Firestarter. That one made 833,000. It's made. Is this really it? Only 9 million so far.
Has anyone seen it yet?
I saw.
No.
That was
So if you want to see my extended, I did write a pretty extended review on my letterbox. Just go to Culturesmash. For me, if this had come out in 1997, 98 as a TV movie, people will be loving it. But as a theatrical release, it's very flat, like kind of bland. And it's unfortunate because the original movie had George C. Scott and Drew Barrymore. And the villain they have in this movie doesn't live up. And the little girl, as cute as she is, doesn't live up to Drew Barrymore. What I will say, Tina, you've read the book, right?
No.
Okay. Well, I've read the book. And the original movie avoided a few kind of really dark things that were in the book.
Mm-hmm.
They're in this movie. They went for it.
Oh.
They're there. So
Was
it's
there
not
a
a
child
good movie.
orgy scene?
There is no child orgy scene, but there wasn't one in the book either, to be fair.
Looking at you, it.
Yeah. This was, I guess, pre-cocaine days, I guess.
Ah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the cocaine days is when we got the child orgies, I think. Yeah, it's not good. If you're a King fan, I'd say still watch it, but you don't, stream it. I think it's on Peacock or something. Also, it's called Firestarter. The fire should look good. Often the fire looks like shit in this movie. It looks really
No.
yeah, I mean, it's all about fire, and it doesn't look good a lot of times. All right, number 7 is Everything Everywhere All at Once. It's currently the best movie of the year. It made 1.3 million. It's made 63 million so far. Number 6 is Downton Abbey, A New Era. That one made 1.7 million. It's made 40 million so far. Number 5 is the Bob's Burgers movie. It made 2.4 million. It's made 27 million so far. I'll probably end up seeing this movie, even though I have no investment in the show.
My sister went and saw it, and
She liked it?
She liked it. Yeah.
She likes the show too, though, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the reviews, like I just went out of curiosity, went and sort of checked the Rotten Tomatoes scores, and it's pretty good. They say it's, pretty entertaining movie. So I'm going to probably pick it up at some point if it stays in the theater for a while to cover my bases on my Pushing 100. Number 4 is The Bad Guys. It made 2.5 million. It's made 91.8 million, almost 92. Number 3 is Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. It made 5.2 million. It's made 398 million so far. Here, you want to know what's an insult? Is I'm in the Disney Movie Club, and this the 4K of this movie is my the movie they offered me for this month. You get offered a movie, kind of like old Columbia House, and you have to accept it or deny it. $40 they want for this movie. $40. Of course, I said no.
No.
40. I mean, and they send you like a lithograph with it, but you can get that lithograph from Target and they're exclusive, I'm sure, when it comes out. So I'm not doing that. Number 2 is Top Gun Maverick. It made $51.6 million. It's made $395 million so far. As of the weekend. Number 1 over the weekend is Jurassic World Dominion. It opened at $145 million. So coming up this weekend, the only thing opening is Lightyear, and that one's 82% of Rotten Tomatoes right now, so it sounds like it's good. Why would you dare open anything against? You've got Top Gun, Jurassic Park, and a new Toy Story kind of movie. Why would nothing else should open this weekend?
Well,
honestly.
and here's the interesting thing. Doctor Strange was at like 6 weeks to hit 395 or 400 million, something like that. Top Gun Maverick is going into week 3.
And it's
already at 400 million.
Hey, I was gonna say, as of today, we saw the article today. I almost put it in the rundown. I didn't because it was just, we can say it in two lines, that as of today, Top Gun Maverick is the highest grossing movie in the United States this year so far.
Yeah.
In 3 weeks. And it annoys me because I have mixed emotions because I'm happy to be able to say, yeah, I was right about that. Because I knew this movie was going to be bigger than everybody thought. But then I'm pissed off because I miscalculated and fucking let Zach get it in the film.
Well, what sucks is
the
Zach
emotions are
this
high.
And Lightyear.
Yeah, he's got.
No, Nico has Lightyear.
Oh, Nico has.
Zach
has something else. Zach has something else big though. I don't remember what it is. I thought it was
Zach
Lightyear too.
has The Bride, Downton Abbey: A New Era, Top Gun Maverick, Minions: The Rise of Gru, and Easter Sunday.
I think Minions is like the quote.
Minion is his
one.
Never mind then. So it's not going to be as big as a blowout.
Yeah. So game
Yeah.
on. Game
Nico
on.
has Thor: Love and Thunder, Nope, Watcher, Lightyear, and DC League of Super Pets.
Shit, Nico has a good game.
Yeah, as long as Zach doesn't win a second one.
Yeah, Zach has the trophy now, and it sucks.
At this point, it's like we don't want Zach to win.
Exactly. All right, so just a heads up for people who aren't aware that we are discussing our fantasy film ball game. This is a game where we, every 4 months, take the list of movies coming out. We each have 100 virtual bucks, and we use that money to bid on the movies we think are going to make the biggest box office. So let's get the film ball update.
Yeah, so sitting with a beautiful fucking goose egg, me and Nico. Actually, hold on. So sitting at the bottom is me with a big old fucking goose egg.
Goose egg.
Nico, who I just refreshed my memory, has Watcher, is sitting at 1.5 million.
I'm in the game.
Steven is sitting third place, 12.1 million. Nathan got bumped out of that first place. He currently sits at 379.4 million. And Zach has claimed first place so far with 381.6 million.
Oh, it's kind of good that Zach's not here tonight.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a weird
'cause I don't
feeling
wanna
to
hear
have
that
Zach
shit.
on top.
Yeah, and no one wants Zach on top. But
Not even
no one
KJ.
really See, thank you, Tina. Now I wish he was here.
Lord, that's so bad.
So yeah, I think we have some people already interested, some listeners that are already interested in playing with us in the next block. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes. But
I love that my secret headquarters movie is going straight to streaming.
yeah, you already got
Yeah.
with that cast. So I'm left with Beast and
3,000 years of longing.
which I'm hoping it's a wild card horse draw whatever thing where
No.
it's the last movie in August and then it gets some like pool.
Yeah,
No.
I mean it could because it is George Miller, but to me it looks kind of bad. Go ahead.
I was like, I kind of dug the surrealness of the trailer. I'm kind of interested in it, but it definitely has a feeling of it being like a 1001 Arabian Nights kind of thing, where it seems like Idris Elba is just going to tell these anthology stories, and that can get old. So
Yeah.
it's definitely going to be interesting to see how it plays out.
It's interesting to look at the buzz though, because the buzz is going into now it's going into Nope like more. Like I knew it was going to be a big movie, but it feels like people are talking more and more and more about it now.
But
So
you see more of a trailer before Jurassic World of Nope, and it's
Mhm.
like, what the hell?
You know,
is
I
this?
gotta admit,
We have
I,
to, yeah.
yeah, I didn't like the trailer. I love the
Oh.
first one, but the second one, I feel like,
It showed too much.
yeah,
well, here's what's funny about that trailer because we all saw the same movie, but it started like as it's kind of starts the same way as the previous trailer did, and I really had to pee, and I thought, okay, here's my chance. So I ran out and peed during that trailer, so I haven't seen it. I haven't seen the
Yeah.
new one. Yeah.
No, it showed a lot, but then with those types of movies or Jordan Peele,
It could be a lie. Yeah.
it's
hard to know.
definitely could be kind of like M. Night Shyamalan, where it's like
But
it's
we-
just spontaneous.
misleading.
So let me ask you guys: did you guys get the trailer for that movie Falling?
Yes.
which one was the Falling trailer?
Oh, Fall.
Fall? Was it just called Fall?
Fall.
Yeah, Fall.
Yeah, it's when the radio tower and the cell phone drops.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yes.
okay.
And
I
literally,
got
it's just somebody hanging off of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I love this movie, Frozen, not the Disney movie. It's called
Yeah,
it's
the
just-
one where
it's a
they're
horror-
stuck on the ski lift.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I
Yeah.
love that shit. And I saw this trailer, and I thought, God, is this going to be like Frozen, where it's like a single location, kind of like, am I going to fall and die? I just wish the radio tower looked a little better. It was so
Yeah,
bad.
Yeah.
The
it did not look
CGI
good.
was
The
really
farther
bad.
up they got,
the
it
worse.
The
got
more-
worse
yeah.
fake. Yeah.
But that said, it's a good trailer though, because I'm curious. I'm like, what is this? That probably was my biggest curiosity in the trailers in front of Jurassic World.
I'm not gonna lie, when I saw that trailer, I was just waiting for the trimmer thing to come up out of the
Oh, I know, because the color is the same. Yeah, the big
Yeah.
trimmer worm.
Yeah.
All right, so we all managed to see Jurassic World Dominion. So, Nico, you're usually pretty good at setting the stage for this. You want to set the stage for what the story kind of is. And by the way, if you're listening to this and you haven't seen the movie, this is spoiler discussion. So, drop us a like or whatever and come back later if you haven't seen it. So,
Sure. So, actually, I do want to go into an interesting tangent. We met with a doctor.
Oh, yeah, I
earlier
wanna hear this.
today, and they was telling us about them watching the movie, and they said, "Yeah, I really liked it. I watched the first one and then this one, and I haven't seen any of the other ones in the middle."
They
And-
watched Jurassic Park,
Yeah.
and then immediately watched Jurassic World.
Not
Dominion.
Jurassic World and then Dominion, Jurassic Park and then Jurassic World Dominion. And I'm like, you know what? I think I would have liked this one better if I did it that way too. So to set the stage of the
maybe.
movie, this one picks up a few years after the last one.
4 years.
Yes. Where at the end of the last movie, Fallen Kingdom, dinosaurs are in the public. They are in the world. They are off the island, in regular North America. And in this one, they've since spread across the globe. And they are a nuisance, for the most part, for humanity. We visit back with the main characters of the World franchise. So Owen and what is
Claire.
Claire, from those two movies, and then
Maisie.
Macy, which is the kid from Fallen World,
Macy, not Macy.
the clone kid that they rescue and save at the end
The
of
clone
last
kid,
movie.
yeah.
But then we also revisit the three main characters from Jurassic Park. So we've got Alan Grant, played by Sam Neill. We've got
Ellie Sattler,
Ellie Sattler,
played by
Laura Dern, and Ian Malcolm, played by Jeff Goldblum. So they all come back. And
Yes.
unlike in Fallen Kingdom, where Jeff Goldblum was there for extensively a cameo appearance at the beginning of
Exactly.
they are actually contributing members of the plot and of the progression of the movie in this one. They're in it a fair amount of time. They have different plot lines that eventually converge. The OG crew is trying to investigate this shady genetic organization, because that's what every Jurassic Park movie is about.
For sure.
Trying to basically destroy the world. And Owen and Claire are trying to get back Maisie.
who's
and
been kidnapped.
Also,
And Blue's
the-
baby.
yeah, the child of the
Beta.
Velociraptor Blue from the last two movies, which gets called Beta. Blue is in the beginning of the end and also does nothing in this movie. So that's really how the plot works out. They eventually combine when they are on the preserve of dinosaurs that the shady genetic company has created to air quote safeguard the dinosaurs. And they expose, hey, the shady group of shady shit people, and they pretty much get the place closed down. That's essentially the plot of the movie.
So it's not fair to say this because honestly, this was done way before. I mean, I can remember this sort of formula done during the TV series Lost also. But anytime I see it where there's a big ensemble cast and then the script very blatantly and purposely breaks them up into smaller groups that are on separate adventures that can converge in the end, I immediately think, oh, well, this is the Stranger Things formula. Let's go. We're watching a Stranger Things formula. And it's exactly what I thought when I was watching this movie. So there's a couple
I'm
things.
gonna say this.
Go ahead.
Oh. I like the dinosaur parts. Fuck the people parts.
Did you?
I want Steven. I want
I
Steven.
like most of the dinosaur parts.
So do you want to hear my
I want to hear
positive?
Steven's bit too. Yes, yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so here's my positive. Is the previous movie, I obviously didn't like the previous movie at all. I think my comment on the previous movie, and I stand by it, is I enjoyed the first 20 minutes and then they left the island. But this movie sets up the world as kind of like, okay, dinosaurs are now in the world. It's kind of like a virus that we didn't handle the right way, and there's no going back from it. And in a weird way, this story of this movie isn't about the dinosaurs. I mean, they play an integral part, really, but it's not about the dinosaurs. And I kind of appreciate that part, is now we're existing in a world of dinosaurs, and here's a story about locusts that are killing crops.
It's about corporate greed.
But specifically, it's about the locusts that are killing crops, and it's except for the crops of this one particular company, and then we learn why. So I kind of appreciated that part of it, but then I also really fucking hate that part because we get the original cast are just wedged into this movie in such a way. Like Laura Dern goes, or Ellie goes to Grant and says, I want to go undercover at this biotech company and I need you to be a witness. You need me to fucking what? And then he witnessed it, but they didn't take a picture of taking the sample. It felt so undercooked. It was so undercooked to me. I got a little bit mad, and it felt a little bit Laurel and Hardy or Abbott and Costello with these two characters breaking into this facility.
It definitely felt like they put Grant was thrown in. Like I can understand the Ian portion and the Ellie portion, but it was a forced way to grab Grant in.
So much of the movie he has nothing to do. At one point, she's even talking to Jeff Goldblum's character while they're making espresso to hide under a microphone, and Grant's not even involved. You don't even need him. And honestly, to me, she has to go into this facility and get this like DNA sample. Well, there's like 50,000 of these locusts in an open field. And who would have known whether she got it from inside this biotech lab or in the field? I don't think they ever made that meaningful. Am I wrong about that?
I mean,
that part I was just
she
so...
was there.
But
I think that's why. I think that's why she had Grant come be a witness.
Because he can speak of being there.
Yeah,
too.
but we're just supposed to trust his word. I mean, if they had taken a camera with them, or even pulled out a camera phone and recorded what they were doing, because that's what people do that go into these labs where they're like abusing animals, is they film it for proof. We saw this in 28 Days Later, right?
Yeah.
So, like the whole existence of the original cast to me is undeserved. Like it just annoyed me.
I agree with that. So here's my view on the two different plot lines. It makes no sense how they put together the original three.
Yeah.
But I like the actors and they are doing their parts well. And thus I am still more interested in following them than I am Claire and Owen, who have a more dinosaur-related plot line, and it is also more integrated in the overall world trilogy. But I don't care about them as much. I like seeing Sam Neill and Jeff Goldblum doing their thing, even if.
But let me ask you this:
no plot sense whatsoever. I just like them as actors working.
But it didn't even feel like their characters.
Yes,
it did not feel like them. There were pieces of them there.
I would say
was not.
I think Grant felt like his character. I think Jeff Goldblum felt like Jeff Goldblum.
Well, they delivered their lines.
He felt like Jeff Goldblum more than he felt like the character from the original film.
But they delivered lines as their character, but they did not hold that character that we originally fell in love with.
I agree. I don't think their personalities were the same somehow.
I think they're not quite the same. But again, I just like seeing those actors work. Like I just like seeing Sam Neill and stuff. I like seeing Jeff Goldblum be Jeff Goldblum. And again, it's not like those parts weren't done well. They don't work in the movie. But I like watching those guys and girl. I like seeing Laura Dern. I like just watching them more than I watched.
I agree with that.
Well, and I will
actors.
say this: the characterizations of these characters that we've seen throughout this franchise did not live up to what we were served previously. Like if we look at the Chris Pratt and Bryce Dallas Howard, Claire and Owen character from the original Jurassic World to this movie, they are not the same characters at all.
Spoiler alert, Nathan didn't like this movie.
I fucking hated it.
He was so mad last night when I
walked out of the theater cussing. I do not this was not part of my Jurassic Park franchise
or the Jurassic World, but you liked the previous movies.
I loved all the Jurassic World movies. I loved all the Jurassic Park movies. I loved, like, that is my franchise. That is my heart.
I think the thing for me, I'm actually kind of in agreement with Nathan a bit.
Really? You've cooled down on the.
Well, like I said, I like
shocking.
the dinosaur parts. I hate the people parts because the people parts, they were so ham-fisted and calling back to Jurassic Park. It felt like they built this bullshit plot around these instances where they could spoon feed us scene recreations from the other movies, and I'm like, I'm tired of this. Plus, if I had to sit there and count one more time how many characters went whoa to dinosaurs, I was gonna scream.
Not only that, they don't do it well. They like the bits like for instance, they do the whole like don't move for the thing that's not a T-Rex.
Yeah,
and then they move.
Yeah,
they are plainly moving in front of this thing, and it's like it's just not working. Like they don't. They're trying to do so many callbacks to the previous films.
The Barbasol
can
was so stupid.
Sneaking into a lab to get samples.
Even to the point of turning off the power.
Yeah.
Like trying to find the
diverting the power. Yeah.
Yeah.
Tina, that's so funny because what you just said, if you guys go and look at my TikTok video, I ended my immediate reaction with, this is a movie that was written around action beats instead of action beats that were created for a movie.
Yeah.
And that is the difference.
It's not just trying to capture like the action beats of the films, but the action beats of what the fans think about the films. And one of the most egregious bits in the movie is when all the characters get together in that little bit. And
you know that, hold on. So there was a fan theory.
I was going to explain it. Thank you, Tina.
Okay, fine. Fuck you.
So,
oh my God.
There's a bit in there when all the characters get together, and as Tina was interrupting me, thank you. There was a previous fan theory that Owen, Chris Pratt's character, was the kid from Jurassic Park that Alan Grant interacts with on his dig before he goes to Jurassic Park. The one who he kind of freaks out about the Velociraptor story.
Mm-hmm.
And that it's like, oh, that's got to be Owen because he now has a respect for Velociraptors. And in the movie, Alan Grant, when he made it's like, Owen Grady, I know you. And then it's a pause. And the pause is simply there because everyone knows he's the Velociraptor kid. And then he goes, you're the guy who trains raptors. And I'm like, Fuck you.
Mm.
Why did you
it would have been It would have been a better tie-in. For me, this is supposed to be the finale of a franchise. I was fully expecting one of the main original three characters to die, which it should have happened. Some of the newer characters should have died. But how are you going to have a movie where you have this large ensemble, this large group, and none of these people die, but all you get is random secondary characters? The villain, which was a god-awful villain. Yeah, he was a corrupt man.
I want to get to that in a bit.
He was
I want to
have
get
words.
to the villain.
How do you change the doctor who was involved with all these genetic modifications and stealing
Wu's
whatever?
whole
and
redemption was bullshit.
that was
Yeah.
he should have been
He should have been the villain.
he should have been the villain.
We went back and watched Jurassic Park after we got home, and so many of the hero characters die. I mean, Muldoon, the capable like animal handler guy, dies.
Yeah.
Samuel Jackson's character dies. Like these aren't bad guys. These aren't tertiary characters. They are in the movie a good bit. And
Jeff Goldblum even gets injured severely.
Yeah.
So this calls back to a problem that I had with the previous film, and it's even worse in this one. Part of what made, to me, the first one so good is I feel like, you guys are going to be like, oh, here we go again. But they were regular people that were running from dinosaurs. They were scientists, they were nerds, they were regular people. But now we can't do a movie without making people superhero badasses. We have Claire, who is a scientist. They try to write off Chris Pratt's, epic
She was more
fighting
of a
abilities.
marketing genius.
Well,
she wasn't really a scientist. She was a marketing genius.
Yeah, but this gets to the point. They try to write off Chris Pratt's fighting abilities and his running and escaping abilities as, I was in the military. Whatever. Claire, in this movie, Claire is jumping from building to building, and at one point, fighting dinosaurs with a pole, she turns that pole sideways and fucking does like a flip over it or something, like an acrobat expert, like a ninja. And I'm like,
she gets the pole lodged between two cars.
I know, but
there's a
no
whole
way
process that seems.
Yeah.
There's no way
outlandish.
a regular person, a marketing person, I'm a fucking marketing person, I would never be able to do that. It takes away sort of that natural fear, you know what I mean? That you would be able to sort of relate to the character.
It felt like there were no stakes. Like
there were no stakes.
I did not at one point
been.
feel any danger for any of the.
Exactly.
Like going to your point, like in Jurassic Park in the first one, the what you would think is the most capable character, which is Muldoon, the animal handler, the guy who's responsible for the dinosaurs and stuff. There, he dies. He gets clever girl. So like none of the characters in that movie are fighters like Owen is in this one, and I agree, like somebody should have died in this movie, and you could have easily killed off any of the original three, and I think you would have. I think like Malcolm, I think Jeff Goldblum would have been a good candidate and stuff.
And the perfect opportunity was when he's waving the freaking spear of fire.
Yep, I thought it was about to happen.
That
I literally thought he was
spot.
giving himself up for them.
The fact that the characters aren't aware enough of this, how much this reflected the events previously, also frustrated me.
Yeah,
I understand at a certain point the referential nature of this movie would collapse upon itself, but I feel like there should have been a point where Grant just turned to Ian and it's like, I'm never getting in a car with you ever again because T-Rex is attacking.
Yeah, like there were some references that I was like, oh, haha, that's funny. Like when that one dude who's showing them around the Biosyn facility goes, do you even know how many volts were in the fences of Jurassic Park? And Alan Grant's like, yes, I do.
Yeah,
that was a great callback. That was a funny because
it was a callback first and a story plot point second because because it's not a fair comparison in the
I think it wouldn't be problematic if you didn't have all the other problematic
like those kind of references I didn't have a problem with. It's the setting up the Jurassic World movie almost like trying to do shot for shot for some of the scenes that was like, okay, stop. If I wanted to watch Jurassic Park, I would have
I'd
come
watch
home and
fucking
watched
Jurassic
Jurassic
Park.
Park.
Tina, you literally did come
Which I
home
did
and
do
watch
this.
it, which is
And because this movie was so bad, though, little small thing, and this is what always happens. If a movie is not generally going well, I start to hone in on other little things.
yeah.
And you know, in the previous movie with Claire's character, everybody lost their shit over her running from dinosaurs with heels on.
Mm-hmm.
In this one, she's running from a dinosaur. She goes underwater, fully submerges herself. Then when she comes out of the water an hour later, her hair is dry and she looks fucking hot. I'm like, really? Her hair looks gorgeous.
It's the humidity.
No, it's dumb. And then there's another time when Laura Dern and Sam Neill are in the lab to get their sample, and they're in those protective suits. Why did Laura Dern's bangs have
Have
to
that
be out?
bang, yeah. I thought the
Why?
exact same thing.
So I've got
It's so dumb.
I've
And
got another
it's-
problem with the lab. So there, one again, we talked about how they have to go kind of undercover into this Biosin, the shady genetic company lab, who is taking over management of the dinosaur acquisition. Of like, we are going to do this favor for the world and capture as many of the dinosaurs we can and bring them to this preserve that we have. At one point, when they're being escorted through the lab, the guy escorted was like points out, I was like, yeah, and here's these new dinosaurs that we created. And I'm like, wait, stop. What the fuck are you doing making new dinosaurs?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
It's like, it even points out like they're more accurate. They aren't combined DNA. We were able to create it actually from the DNA itself. They have feathers. It's like, I don't fucking care. Why are you making new dinosaurs? And
How is that a good thing? Yeah.
why are there dinosaurs in this movie that we haven't seen before? Because only a limited number of dinosaurs were able to be carried out of the last movie. The whole plot of the last movie is the remaining dinosaurs that survived the destruction of Isla Nublar, the island, because the volcano went off.
That was a traumatic scene.
It was the best
Yeah.
scene. It is the best non-original Jurassic Park scene in the franchise.
I can agree with that.
And so all the dinosaurs that got out of there were taken to be auctioned off in the black market. So in a very limited number of dinosaurs, pretty much the ones we saw in that movie, where are these other ones coming from? What the hell? It's stupid. And to also tie it into, like, I guess this Biosin company that does evil things, I really want to nail down onto the villain. The villain of the movie, Dodson.
Which, if you recall from the first movie, Dodson over here, nobody cares.
Yeah, in the first movie, in the original Jurassic Park, the guy who Wayne Knight's character gets the can and is hired to steal the embryos from is a guy named Dodson, who works for an unknown.
I found out why it's not the same actor, though.
Is he dead?
No, he's in jail for sexually assaulting a minor.
Good.
Oh my
he should be in
God.
jail then.
Is he dead? Oh no, he's just a pervert.
That's a good casting change then. But the character who arranged this, his name was Dodson. That's all we know is his last name was Dodson. Don't know what company. That's we didn't need that information.
Well,
Right.
no, it said Biosin.
Didn't it say Biosin in the movie?
Because it says 15 minutes and Biosin catches up on 10 years of research.
Okay. Good. Well, either way,
Okay.
he is the CEO now of Biosin and is the main bad guy here. And I don't mind that. I don't mind them pulling this no-name character and expanding.
I actually kind of like
No, that's
that,
kinda
having
cool.
it coming
yeah. The
full
pro-
circle.
The
Yeah.
problem is they couldn't figure out what kind of villain.
Oh
he
my
is.
god.
This movie tries to play him off at times like the kind of just greedy corporate, like, we are going to just use all this genetic technology and make a lot of money and essentially rule the world, which has been like the modus operandi of several Jurassic Park / world bad guys in the past. Okay. But then he goes through this whole villain speech with Ian Malcolm, with Jeff Goldblum's character going, you think I'm all this, but I'm not. And it's like,
Yeah,
okay.
all you see when you look at me is unchecked avarice.
But
Like,
the movie doesn't
Oh,
ever.
man.
Yeah, the movie never shows that that's not the case. There's no case to be made that he's not that at all. but the movie also makes it seem like this character has some sort of condition, some underlying genetic
Yeah,
condition.
I felt
possibly.
like,
Yeah,
is
like-
he on the spectrum? Does he have Alzheimer's?
Yeah, I
What's
was thinking it was
happening?
an Alzheimer's. It was definitely some sort of mental impairment. He asking people for like, well, he asked a couple times when people had like a food. Like it seemed like he needed.
Yeah, he
a
asked
certain-
one guy if he had food, and then it was never like referenced again. I felt
One
like
of my bars.
Well, it was only
yeah,
referenced
I
by
felt
him.
like there's a story arc that was
Yeah,
cut.
it was slightly referenced just by him occasionally snacking on like some granola bar because that's what he asked for. So you have one of my bars, but he says it that way. Do you have one of my bars? So it seems like he has.
I think
some
that's like
condition
something that they'll dive into in like deleted scenes.
Yeah,
extra
I
footage
think
kind of thing.
you and Stephen are right because I think it's plain that he has some condition that is being treated with these bars, and I felt like they were going to go into him trying to harness genetic technology to fix himself.
Yeah,
But
because
they
that's
don't.
what
That's
they
what
were
I thought
setting
too.
up. That's what they were setting up with Maisie and Blue/Beta is these genes, these clones were able to heal themselves, heal the cells that were faulty in the original. And they just up into the air with
No,
that
they
one.
focused on the locust. The thing is, it felt like they had so many ideas, and they came down to 2, and they just didn't execute it right.
No,
Like,
I-
or
I
they
think-
had a lot of ideas that they cut. or
Yeah,
something,
also
right?
there were some things that were just thrown in there just to tug at heartstrings that really had no place being in there. Like Laura Dern looking at Maisie and being like, I knew your mom.
That
Yeah.
movie, that
It's like,
so pissed me off.
That came out of fucking nowhere
Yeah.
and had
It
no
sure did.
purpose other than to like tug at the mother heartstrings. Like,
I felt like there was a balancing act in this movie was trying to go for in some areas, and I don't know why it didn't commit into just full on catering to fans. Like it should have gone full camp in some areas. Like for instance, how I talked about Blue is only in this movie in like 2 bits and does nothing.
yeah, what the fuck?
I partway expected when Owen was on his bike chase in Malta for him to like, all right, Blue, let's go, and Blue just comes out
Yeah.
of like some storage unit.
Yeah, and that's
it-
another thing.
That would have been
They
jumping
took-
the shark, but it would have been rad as hell. It should
They
have
took
happened.
it in like a Mission Impossible direction where you're jumping from country to country with
Yeah.
smuggling of people and dinosaurs and blah blah. When honestly, they could have built the fucking facility on Yellowstone National Park and made that the frickin' sanctuary for the dinosaurs, and then Blue could have been incorporated that way, or
Yeah.
Blue could have been injured trying to get Beta back before they got to the bridge, and then Owen had no choice but to go for
Yeah.
Blue. Like,
And I'm sorry, I felt really bad for the one character, the pilot lady, because this is the last movie of a very well-known franchise, and you're introducing a new ass character like this to like the hero team. I honestly had wished that they had made the which you guys will probably disagree, but I wish they had made the pilot Jeff Goldblum's daughter from the second movie.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about that.
I could have got on with that.
Yeah,
It would have been
because it would have explained how she got the contract with Biosyn to be their
Well-
private charter. It would have
And-
it would have helped solidify in Malcolm's like subterfuge for Biosyn. Like, I don't know, it would have made more sense of why she's helping out these totally complete
Random
strangers
people.
who she's
Well,
part of like a shady organization.
Also, it would add to more of an Ian story because we did get that piece together of Ellie and Grant where Ellie had kids, which we saw from the third Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
Had a husband. She explained they're not together anymore, blah, blah, blah. And that where we didn't get anything with Ian, where he had his own freaking movie, Jurassic Park 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think
Also, as soon as Ellie said that she was divorced, I'm like, oh fuck, they're
they're
gonna fuck.
putting them together.
Yeah.
This
gotta-
movie, like Steven said, it was more focused on duplicating action beats, specifically from the original Jurassic Park, and than it was on its own story. And even when they could have done the general idea of pulling content ideas from the overall franchise that aren't story beats, like Tina's suggestion about making the pilot character Malcolm's daughter, because I mean that's not a story beat at all from the franchise. I mean that's not an action beat. It's not duplicating a
Yeah.
scene that happened before.
Plus,
But
could you
it's
imagine
tying
the
things
audience's
together.
reaction when they meet up with Ian Malcolm and she just
He's
goes,
like, hi, Dad.
"Hi, Dad." Yeah, people
Yeah.
would have been like, oh, like, yeah.
That
they
would have
just
been
missed
a
opportunities.
bigger beat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Did anybody else think it was weird that they went through this big deal at the beginning of when Ellie and Grant were going to Biosynth, that it was such a big deal that they were allowed on the island, that it was such an exclusive thing? And then you get there and it feels like a fucking like tourist stop.
Yeah.
Ian is talking to an entire classroom full of people at one point.
Yeah,
The only thing that
it
I can
made
assume
no
is those are
sense.
interns or something.
yeah, those are totally
Yeah, but-
interns. Those are.
But when you
no, I
make it
agree.
like, oh, it's so exclusive, and there's literally like
You
10s,
wanna-
20s, 50s, hundreds of people walking around, it's like, hey, what's up?
On that the so exclusive bit, that one thing that pissed me off about like the technology of this super advanced genetic facility is they don't know whose key card is whose,
Yeah.
because like
What the fuck is that?
Yeah, at one point in the movie, Ian Malcolm slips Ellie Sadler his wrist key card, his Disney
His
Fast Pass
magic
watch.
band.
His magic band.
His
so they-
magic band.
Yeah,
That's
and he
totally
slips
what it
that
is.
because he has
Magic
access
band.
to get to the lower levels. And when they eventually in the control center find out that Grant and Sadler were down in the lower levels, it's like, yeah, they had to use a white band key card to get in. We noticed that Malcolm slipped something on a camera. Like, what do you mean you noticed? You should be able to tell whose exact card
Yeah.
access that is.
Yeah.
It should be
Mhm.
coded in. It's like,
And it's
checked
not like
in,
it's
Ian Malcolm at 1:32 p.m. Central Time.
it's not like that's like
yeah.
really outside the realm of possibility, because when I went to work,
Yeah.
they would know that I was checking into the building because my badge was tied to my ID.
Absolutely. That's nothing new. Yeah. So here's the other issue for me. If they're going to do a movie and they're going to actually create the action beats, the set pieces first, and then write the story around it, which is what this feels like, and you're going to riff on arguably one of the greatest filmmakers in American history, you damn well better execute. Because here's the
Yeah.
thing about Steven Spielberg. That guy knows two things. He knows how to do family suspense, and he knows how to do awe. Like when you finally see something, like the first time you see a dinosaur in
Yeah,
Jurassic
and then
Park,
that's just
you're like,
the sense of just like
fuck.
this is
This
happening.
movie doesn't do any of that. I
No.
never
There's no
felt
awe.
awe.
No.
Yeah,
There's
no
none.
element.
And there's no like
Even-
there's a time when they're in that Jeep, it's slipping off and everybody go to the left, that bullshit. They're riffing on Spielberg so hard there, but it doesn't execute. It's not.
They even had
like-
a little riff on George Lucas. Did you notice that?
Which
What's
one's
that?
one?
When Alan Grant went back for his hat, all Indiana
Oh,
Jones style.
yeah.
Oh yeah, I
Totally
totally
took-
felt Indiana Jones.
Yeah,
with
there's
that.
totally.
Well, the dinosaur fight sequences too were just not landing. It was
No.
That
not
T-Rex,
there.
that T-Rex should not have gotten up after that last bite
Well,
to
and
the
then
neck.
to partner with that
Yeah.
other bird dinosaur.
Not only are they not only are they afraid to kill off main characters in this movie, they can't even kill off a T-Rex in this movie.
True.
It's no, you're right. They were trying to replicate in that one, of course, the ending fight and
Jurassic World,
Jurassic
with,
World
blue
with the blue and
versus-
T-Rex team up.
Yeah.
Which it's just like no one cares about the weird sloth dinosaur.
Yeah.
And
I kind of like the weird sloth
I mean,
dinosaur.
but we don't have an emotional investment with the weird sloth.
Yeah.
I liked it, but it just made no sense for his spear fingers like Edward Scissorhands
Yeah.
to freaking stab through a Gigantosaurus.
Gigantosaurus.
That's what I'm gonna call it because that's what it was. And it made no freaking sense.
And I still,
Yeah.
again, I don't know why that dinosaur, like either of those two dinosaurs are there. Like who brought that? Like I saw the T-Rex being brought off the island in the last movie.
And,
Where
and
were
you
these
have-
other ones?
And you have no one dying running around these three.
There was one person that
creatures.
got ate by a dinosaur, and that was it. I saw
That was in Italy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was in
Yeah.
Malta. Yeah,
yeah,
but
and
yeah,
he
it's
was
like-
on fire. That was a cool part.
but I mean, like what
Yeah.
the plot of the first World movie is like, hey, the T-Rex isn't cool enough. We need to make a new dinosaur. I'm like,
Yep.
the T-Rex isn't cool enough, and you have this other the largest carnosaur in the world ever in history. Like, where was that in world? Where was that in the amusement park?
And
What
you
Yeah.
know
is
what?
going on?
There's a technical part here that is a failure, and part of what made the first movie so impactful is this combination of practical and CGI effects. So when you have the characters walk up to the leg of a fucking dinosaur that is real, and then you build him up with CGI, it works. Like even today when you watch that movie, it works. But they don't strike that balance in this movie, and everything looks a little cartoony. And I
will
just
say-
didn't
Well,
en-
shoot,
I
you
will
can go
say
to
there was-
Universal Studios and have a meet and greet with a raptor, and
And
the
it looks fucking
animatronic
awesome.
puppetry of that is so much more detailed and better than the CGI shit we saw on screen.
Yeah.
Tina's like, I'm gonna go do a meet and greet with a raptor.
Yes, I am.
But no, I will say
You
there
can do
was-
that, and it's awesome.
There was puppetry when they were in the black market area.
Yes,
And
there was
I
some.
liked
Yeah.
that. Like
Yeah.
that was I liked that,
That-
area. That was a neat.
Honestly, the
world-building
black
thing.
market area was probably my favorite scene. Like when they're just
Which
when
that also
she's
felt
just
very
wandering
Star
around the
Wars,
black
too.
market.
It did,
Yeah.
but because I mean they felt very similar to the puppetry that was done in Star Wars, and
Yeah.
I think that was one of the better parts of the movie.
So we were talking about the bad guy. That's Campbell Scott, who is a known actor who's been acting for a long time. He should be able to be good. But I think this is a situation, this is a Hayden Christensen type of situation with Star Wars where it's not the actor's fault. I think he was so weirdly directed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think
100%.
Because he's
I
this
don't think
weird
they knew what to
hybrid
do
of-
with Dodson.
Yeah, he's
What?
like a weird hybrid of Tim Cook and
Well,
and
and
Well, I
here's
think-
what I'm
I think
seeing
you-
too. You see in the movie so many different plot points or stuff. Like I think they were building the film while they were shooting. They were changing it
Yeah.
while they were filming. So
And-
the characters, and you could tell this because these are very good actors. How do you lose the characterizations that you built over? It's because you're being thrown different plot, different story changes, different things. It was being edited while it was being made.
well,
Well, I
and
think-
he's
I
at the
think
core of
Stevens-
a problem that I have is there's a weird attempt at infusing this movie with some type of comedy that hasn't been in this franchise at
Yeah.
all, other than Chris Pratt's ad libs in the previous movie.
Well, Jeff Goldblum's ad libs.
Well,
Well,
but Jeff Goldblum,
yeah.
if you look at Jeff Goldblum from the first movie, it's much different than Jeff Goldblum now. Jeff Goldblum
Yeah.
in the first movie was playing a character. Jeff Goldblum now is just being himself because it's what everybody loves.
I think you're right earlier though when we talked about how there are probably deleted scenes that go into what was this Dodson's character's deal was. I think
But
it's
it wasn't
not
even just him. There's weird comedy beats. There's jokes that just don't fucking land
Yeah.
for me.
Honestly,
But you were
I didn't
talking-
laugh one time.
I was trying to get back to your point about him as an actor and his performance is
Yeah.
not serviced as the director by the director. And I agree, it's not serviced by the director in terms of when it's being shot, and also the director and editor of when it's being put together. Like I agree, he did. I think everybody did a serviceable job. I think this movie doesn't fall apart by the actors; it falls apart by the director and the writer.
Yeah.
and editing probably because
Agreed.
deleted content.
That actress that plays the airplane pilot, I think she's good.
I
She's a
think-
good
yeah.
actress. She just got fucked on character.
I would
Honestly,
like more. I would
I
like
would like more of her, and I'd like more of the black market lady.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those were weird plot elements. Just like I feel like this should be a bigger deal, and it's not.
Well,
But that
and
would be cool.
I did appreciate that they incorporated the laser trained dinosaurs like the military
Yeah.
grade because that was part of the plot of the
Mhm.
last
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fallen Kingdom. I appreciate they incorporated that still, but there was too much going on to make it flow.
Yeah.
I agree with what you said. I think maybe it was being written as it was being filmed.
It
Yeah.
was. It was definitely being changed and written as it was being filmed. And you can tell, even with Bryce Dallas Howard, her character, Claire, she was Claire in the beginning, but as you got further through the film, she became more of an emotional, grieving, missing mother than Claire.
There was a weird conversation between her and Laura Dern too in the bug room
Yep.
that just felt forced.
Yep.
Yeah.
Didn't
well, a lot of
feel
conversations
needed.
felt forced.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I wonder because this was definitely a COVID production movie, and
Yeah.
I'm curious how much of like what was the plan pre-COVID and what was the plan? What did they have to feel like they had to scrap?
What did they
Because
have
that
to
would-
change? Yeah.
Because if they decided if they had to figure out we have to split up so many of these actors now because we have to be separated and shoot with smaller units, that I could see that, but I don't know if that's an issue really with the movie because I feel like I don't know if that would have impacted the product that we got, because I don't really have a problem with them being separated and then ultimately coming together at the end. I have a problem with just how much they tried to emulate specific instances from the original and
Yes.
failing, and
Mhm.
not fully thinking out their villain plot at all. And
Mhm.
it's just, I
Like-
don't know. This movie just feels like underthought, and
I
it feels
can't
rushed.
even decide
It's
if I like how
undercooked.
Dodson
That's my
died.
feeling.
It is entirely undercut, and I don't know why. I don't understand why. It's not like they had to rush it. They had the best reason
Yeah.
in the world
To
delay
take their
the
time.
It is
Yeah.
very much a Game of Thrones situation where you're served some good deliciousness and then you get a final crap.
So
Dessert
to-
is just shit on a plate. Yeah.
Maybe
Exactly.
Colin Trevorrow also wanted to just be done with it and just crapped it out.
I
'Cause that's
mean,
a-
you
that's a
say
situ-
that.
That's what happened with Game of Thrones, is that Denioff and Weiss were just like, all right, let's finish the season. We want to move on and go do Star Wars. And then Game of Thrones season 8 happened, and Disney went, you're not doing Star Wars.
Yeah.
You know how much you have to fuck up for Disney to go, you're not doing Star Wars anymore?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like I said, I can't even decide if I like how Dodson died. Like at one point, it's poetic justice kind of deal, but at the other point, it's like, out
Okay.
of all the dinosaurs, really?
But then you have that moment in the movie where the Dilophosaurus
Yeah.
is about to get Claire, and then Owen comes out and just grabs its neck. And it's like, nope, this isn't happening. Like,
And
I laughed.
none of his buddies come out.
I laughed at that part, but I know I wasn't supposed to because
Yeah.
that's how stupid that part was.
I think I laughed or threw up my hands, or there was some recognition of absurdity at
Yeah.
that moment. Okay, we should
Well,
probably.
and that
keep
would have been a
going.
great moment where she like climbed the ladder and barely escaped or something. Like that would have worked better than that.
So one of the things that just occurred to me that I thought during the movie is they set Laura Dern's character up, and Nathan and I were talking about how they're not the same as they were in the first movie.
Mhm.
Is they set her up to be kind of scared of these bugs, these locusts, and I'm like, since when is the woman who would go shoulder deep in dinosaur shit scared of a bug? It
Yeah.
makes character-wise no sense, and there's so many things in this
Unless
movie.
the locusts became flesh eating like locusts,
but
which
they weren't.
we never saw.
Yeah,
And the fact that
they ate
built
the
this,
wheat.
you built this lab to burn these locusts, right? But yet they can just magically bust through the walls or glass or whatever and escape. Come on now.
And become a fire swarm.
And become a fire swarm.
And
How
then they
was the
start
fire
raining
in
down
this
like
movie
meteors.
compared to fire starters.
They come raining down like meteors. It was like, oh, funny.
The fire was a little better in this movie than Firestarter.
I would hope so. All right. So do we want to do
All right,
final
so-
scores?
Yeah, so the other thing is it felt like, talking about the end of this movie, it felt like they did everything they could to wrap it up in a nice little bow 100%.
Mhm.
Even
Yeah.
getting Ellie and Grant together in their romantic moment.
Yeah.
I feel so sad because I like a lot of these actors. The main 4 actors I like.
And
I
for
like
me,
Bryce
it's
Dallas
really
Howard.
hard. It's really hard for me to screw up a Jurassic World movie or Jurassic Park movie because all I'm going there for is the dinosaurs.
Yeah,
But somehow, ta-da.
didn't work out. So on my letterbox, I think I gave it a 1. So I mean, I would probably go 3 out of 10. Maybe.
Yeah, I was thinking 3 or 4.
Right in that space.
I'm trying to remember.
I think I'm gonna
gave
solidify,
mine
3.
1.5. But I would generally be 1.5 stars. So that's 1.5 out of 5. So it's a 3. So yeah,
I think that's actually what I gave
mean,
it to, is 1.5. Yeah.
I'm going to give it definitely a 1 out of 10. And when the full complete set comes out, I'm going to pull this movie out and throw it in the trash and just have 1 through Fallen Kingdom.
Speaking of, I really want the set that Gru's coming out with because it has a little Velociraptor statue of Blue and Beta.
I saw that. Yeah, it's
I
pretty
really
cool.
want it.
Which is really disappointing because this is my all-time favorite franchise of any film movie. Like Jurassic Park is my like Star Wars or my
Yeah. So speaking of Star Wars, it's funny though, when you look at Colin Trevorrow's filmography, he directed 2 of these movies, wrote one of them, and he also wrote The Last Jedi. So a lot of things come into play that makes sense.
I mean,
Yeah,
He wrote the
girl,
story. He wrote the
I have
story.
glue
I was gonna
tattooed
say,
on my arm.
that
For
would make a lot of
Christ's sake.
that would make a lot of sense about The Last Jedi. Like Last Jedi has things in it I do like, but it's like we just talked about this movie. It's undercooked.
Yeah.
It is
Yeah,
not. There are a lot of stuff that just don't work. They're not.
It's like
yeah.
undercooked pasta. They try to throw it at the wall, but it didn't stick.
Yeah, that's
Well,
right.
and the thing is, if they really wanted to make a great movie and really wanted to wrap up an entire series, they could have done a full panel of diehard fans and come up with a better story or a concept or something that
Why? That's a
really would have
different
gave
movie
it
franchise.
justice.
Why is it we are in a time, in a summer, where the best summer blockbuster is the sequel to a cotton candy movie from 40 years ago?
Not only that, but like one of the number one songs is a Kate Bush song. We are reliving.
Yeah, we are back in the 80s.
We are
The 80s.
reliving the
Yeah.
80s. Plus, we're having like a standoff with Russia. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. There you go. All right, so I think what we should do, because we've been at this for about an hour, we should skip forward and maybe talk about Ms. Marvel and then
Yeah.
see what kind of
Yeah.
time we
Well,
have
we
left.
want to just hit it real quick. Just to like steal Nathan's story, real quick. Knives Out 2 has a title.
the glass onion.
Okay.
Yeah, pretty
And-
much. That's the
And
story.
again,
It's not the donut hole.
it's
Can I
gonna be
just say
on
I like that
Netflix.
title?
I love it.
I love that title.
I think it's so cool. You know, I'm not super hyped for this movie since it's not coming to theater, but I do love that title.
So
It's
I'm
cool.
fragile
hyped
layers.
for it because I want
Exactly.
Daniel Craig to chew every scene he's in as Benoit Blanc.
Well, and I'm really excited for the casting.
yeah,
Like,
Kate Hudson, Catherine Hahn,
Leslie
Odom Jr.
I love Kate Hudson. Where's she been? Doing
The
Hallmark
only-
movies or something?
One of the few people that I'm really not excited to see is Edward Norton, but
I don't know.
Yeah. And he's a
Edward
good
Norton-
actor, though.
Edward Norton's a
Eh.
good actor.
He's just a
can be
dick.
insufferable. Yes, but he is a good actor.
Yeah.
and if you want to know how much of a dick he is, watch Birdman.
Ah, yeah.
But
There you go.
Ah,
All right, so you guys managed to watch the first episode of Ms. Marvel.
Yes.
We watched both of them. I feel like I'm a kind of a good judge on this because I've been pretty down on everything Disney Plus Marvel related. I've been kind of down on everything Disney Plus Marvel or Star Wars related.
Yeah.
Um,
Go ahead.
I don't hate it. Is it something I will continue to watch? Probably not.
Let's set the story real quick. Nico, can you set the story for us?
sure. So Miss Marvel, the character Kamala Khan, is a teenage girl in Jersey City, in New Jersey. She is a
Pakistani,
huge,
right?
yes, Pakistani. She is a huge Marvel hero fan, which of course are people in her world. She's a huge fan of these superheroes, particularly of Captain Marvel, Carol Danvers. And she is just daydreaming about being a hero and about her fantasies about superheroes and all this stuff. And her family and her school is just trying to kind of get her out of her fantasies and whatnot.
Like kind of grow up. You're
Yeah.
about to head into the world. You
While
need to
she's
stop.
trying to sneak away to Avengers Con. So a convention, but not kind of convention. It's very slapdash and put together.
Yeah.
But looks like a total
people who are-
blast.
As people who are ran
Yeah, it
conventions
looks like a
before,
party. It's like one of those
It's
high school
definitely-
dance parties.
It's definitely
that you
more.
did and you
It's like
did
a
cakewalks.
carnival. It looks like a carnival.
Yeah.
And that looks rad. It's very fascinating. But anyway, she sneaks out there because her parents don't want her to go. And when she puts together a Captain Marvel outfit, one of the items she uses is a bracelet that came from a family member in the mail. And when she put it on, it activated powers. And she started distributing powers, kind of accidentally ruined the Avengers Con party, but saved somebody's life.
No
in the
one cared
process.
because people loved it so much.
Yeah, no one cared because people loved it. They thought it was part of the show. And then she escaped, made it home, got talked down from her mom about running away and sneaking out at night against their wishes. And then she went to bed and thinking, I have superpowers. That's the first episode. Yeah, I get Nathan's point a lot because honestly, this show is not for us. Like I got plenty of stuff out of it. I thought it was funny. I liked the character infatuation.
I
with
fucking
heroes.
loved it.
I love. Yeah,
Yeah. I'm gonna hone in on why you loved it in 2 seconds when I talk. I know.
And I will say, like, one of the problems I had with one of the early trailers is it showed these animated thoughts happening on screen, and it didn't work in the trailer. But I think it does actually work in practice in the show a lot better. I think this is definitely a good like kids avenue, not or like younger, like the
Like
age
young
of the character.
teen.
Young teen avenue into the MCU. I think it works well that way. I still enjoyed it a good bit, but I think it's definitely leaning more towards that. Things I was fascinated about. One, she has a different power set than she does in the comic books. If anyone has actually read Miss Marvel, mostly just to get it away from being an Inhuman, which I'm fine with. I'm perfectly fine with changing that. That's okay. I also was fascinated by the flip side of that, how much actual comic book stuff they used is visuals. Like the ending credits of this series is almost entirely
comic
book art that is on graffitied on buildings. And it's fascinating because it's the first Marvel movie that has utilized the actual comic book artwork in that fashion. And I love seeing that. I dug it pretty much. I do think it's probably one of the most fully baked, where I love the cooking references we're doing tonight.
Yeah, I'm down with it.
Fully baked product from the Disney Plus Marvel shows from the get-go. Because like a lot of the other shows like Captain Falcon and Falcon and Winter Soldier was a rough start. WandaVision was good, but it was definitely kind of an experimental thing in its first episode. But
Hawkeye was pretty good.
Hawkeye was good.
Hawkeye is my favorite.
Hawkeye's my favorite so far too. But
yeah, Hawkeye's my favorite so far.
I feel like this one is polished and it has an idea of what it is. Like it's not just. I just go back to Falcon and Winter Soldier being generic blandness. And this one's not generic blandness. It has a concept it is trying to do, and I like that.
So I had the weirdest feeling about this show as we watched it. We watched both the first 2 episodes. I wanted to watch them both because I try to watch 2 of everything if I can. I loved it and I hated it at the same time. And it's just the weirdest freaking feeling because this show is a teen comedy, coming of age story, family drama first, with a superhero thing 3rd or 4th down the list, to the point where, without being really spoilery, is situations for her to use her powers feel manufactured just as a reason for her to use her powers. The show could go on without that aspect at all and still be really good.
You'll see more of that in the second episode.
It's completely manufactured, and I'm like, okay. So, but what I do love about it is, first of all, I think probably the reason, Tina, you actually really gravitate to this show is because this feels like a 90s Disney Channel show.
Yeah.
Why you gotta call me out like that?
Damn. It's like a Disney Channel original movie.
It does.
Type thing.
This could be like with Hannah Montana or somebody like that, and it would be freaking great. It would be exactly what. And what I love about it for that is, for that demographic, they get introduced to things that were not well done when I was a kid. Like, you get to learn stuff. Like, I learned stuff about that I didn't know watching this show. You know, when they go into her heritage. Yeah. And I was like, well, shit, this is cool because they're building it into her character story as they should. But it doesn't feel like a lot of other Disney things where it's like, let's stop the presses. Let me explain to you what you don't know and why you're an asshole for not knowing it. That doesn't feel like, it feels like organic within the show because it is her character, you know? That's kind of the issues I have with some other, like, especially movies. I feel like Jordan Peele can stop the presses sometimes to make sure you get what he's trying to say, rather than just let you feel it organically. And this show, at least in the first 2, it just feels like part of it, and you're really learning some stuff, which I think is so cool for young kids.
I think a lot of that comes from the fact that the source material is that very much. It lives.
And I tapped out of the source material for the same, not because of that part, but the source material feels like it's not for my age group. Yeah, and the show is the same.
And I think that's fair. I think it's fine to recognize, like, this is quality material. It's just
It's
not for
good.
me. And the source material does that, so it's pulling very well from that. But it has a very diverse production team,
Yeah.
not just the cast in front of the camera, but a lot of the production team as well are from these kind of backgrounds. So it allows them to know what they're talking about and not just preach what they're talking about.
And you know what else is? This is not just for a certain age group. I also think this can be something that kind of pulls a young girl audience into the superhero world that don't really care about tights and fights.
Yeah.
But they can find their way to that through this show, the way it's kind of growing.
Like
I'll be out, but I'm glad it's there. I think it's a good
first episode kind of introduced you to like a con type world too,
Yeah.
where it's like, oh, instead of going to like a concert or going to a house party or which there's other stuff in there, but they introduce like a con experience where teenagers are being more explorative on that type of event.
The
and
one
stuff
issue
like
That
I
said,
will
though,
have with that, there's one issue I had with that is the cool girl in school was a cosplayer. Fuck you. That's not how it goes. That's not how it goes.
My
Incorrect.
issue with that is I don't know any
Incorrect.
convention like this. I would love to go to a convention like this. Also,
Yeah.
one that's apparently in a closed down military base.
Yeah.
That would be
You're
the
starting to
sweetest
see
con.
high school kids really get into con
I
events like
disagree.
San Diego Con, Dragon Con. You're seeing
It depends.
these
It is-
popular
it is-
kids get in.
It is weird. I agree that it's kind of weird, and I'm expecting more of that character.
And
more
it
of that
depends on what she's best known for in her influencer role. Like, because I know some cosplayers who have that many followers. So I don't know.
Well, and also they were definitely pitching this convention as the kind as basically the Friday night party at like the cool party place. So
I felt
all
like
the
it's
cool
not
kids
even
are-
her influencers that I'm talking about. Those I felt like at the beginning of that first episode, they were kind of leaning into her being the cool girl, you know, the
Yeah.
one who dates
Well-
the football player
that's-
and all
that's what
that
I
stuff.
mean.
That's not your typical cosplayer type of.
I
girl.
agree. So, but they're using the convention in place of the cool party that
Yeah.
the kid wants to sneak out to, and of course, at the cool party, the cool kid is going to be there. So, I think they're trying to conflate two different concepts together,
Agree.
and it doesn't necessarily mesh in that aspect. That's also why you get a convention that is unlike any other convention that I've ever seen.
Yeah, I also
But
think
again,
you
I would love for
guys
this to happen.
are downplaying that we are seeing younger generations being a lot more inclusive to more variety of things than when we were kids.
I think
Well,
it's cool.
I
No, I really think it's cool.
I agree with that, but there's a difference in, you know, the cool kid going to Dragon Con versus the kid who's actually investing their artisticness
But
into creating
in that
costumes.
universe, though, too, the cool kids are looking up to these superheroes, so it's not out far fetched for her to go to an event like that.
I guess there's one thing that we have to keep in mind is that like in our world, a convention based around Marvel superheroes is a nerdy thing, but in their world, these are real life people that have had major impacts on their society. So
On the world.
the cultural
I can
effect
see
is-
the argument a little bit. You can look at it
but-
like Kim
but
Kardashian or like a
I gotta-
reality star.
I
that
still
kind
am
of
just
thing.
completely fascinated by what seems to be kind of an underground convention organization that is incredibly well funded to have like life-size Ant-Man models and a huge Thor hammer hanging from the ceiling. Like
It's gonna kill people.
I just credit. I
The
want to
draw,
go to the show.
though, to me for this series is the style of how it's shot, and you all will see it more in the second episode.
But now you said you were bored with it. That's what
So
you said.
I was
to piggyback off of Nathan's how it's shot comment, one of the reasons I like this show so much is the color that they use.
Oh, it's
Like
beautiful.
you
Yeah,
look
it's
at
really
it,
pretty.
it is vibrant. It is like light. It is like hitting you in the face with the color scales that they're using. And you look back at all the previous shows, you have Falcon Winter Soldier, very, very
Very
bland.
bland. Yeah.
You have
Yeah.
WandaVision, which doesn't gain color until like episode 4.
I'll cut WandaVision slack because it was
It
trying,
was trying something. But Loki was very gritty and
Yeah.
I hated
uh,
the way Loki looked.
yeah.
I hated it.
and Hawkeye, while they did start going back towards some color use, it was very classy. So a lot of blacks and darks and sleeks. Whereas this one, it's like, no, we're gonna have the dad bust in with green and purple. We're gonna have, you know, the whole convention scene be flashing shades of greens and reds and blues, and
But you're seeing it through the lens of
Yeah.
a teenage girl, which I love that, because you get that kind of in like Mean Girls when they're talking about the watering hole.
Yeah.
You get
And
that in
so-
style of,
so
and
wait, I
one of
wanna
the
get back-
scenes that caused me to really love this first episode was when she's texting her friend Bruno about how her mom said no, and just the way you're seeing that text message, that chat appear
pops
on like
up on the wall.
Mhm.
yeah, the walls, the crosswalk, the neon sign above the door, like that to me was just fun. And it really emphasized that these are teenagers, these are fun characters, which
Her
really makes
building
me
a
wonder
plan
what
to get to
has
the con.
what's
I want to
in
get back to
store.
this because you're being nicer to it than you were after we watched it. 'Cause
I
you were
thought it
like,
was
I'm
a
bored.
No, I thought it was bored, but I can appreciate the style in which it was shot. It's not a story for me. I appreciate teen dramas. I get that.
I was
but
gonna
it's
say
not.
this is all you, buddy.
But it's not. It's not made
For
for
you.
me to be invested
Yeah.
in.
Yeah.
Like, was there a super hot guy? No. Was there like abs
Well,
and dick? No.
There were no abs, no dick, and no dinosaurs. So
Yeah.
Nathan doesn't care.
True.
Yeah.
But yeah, I even commented that to Nathan that the way it's shot, there's some certain camera moves that they do that I really like, and it's where it's not the first time we've seen them. It's something they've taken from other projects. I think the first time I saw it was in a Steven Soderbergh movie, actually, where the camera is locked on a body. So if that body lays down, the camera lays down too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love those kind of camera moves, and they use it a lot in this. And I actually think that they're using it some in Euphoria also, which
Yeah.
there's some marriage
Which-
between
And
some
I'm
looks in
really
Euphoria to
excited.
this one.
I'm really excited for them to delve more into the gauntlet, because as soon as she puts it on and she falls backwards to this crowd of just blacked out people with glowing eyes, I was like, oh my God, Avatar.
I'm really interested. We still have a way to go to see how she develops as
Yeah.
a superhero, but I'm fascinated because the Captain Marvel sequel movie is The Marvels, of which she
Yeah.
is one of the three.
Also, if in the next Ant-Man we don't get some kind of reference to Scott Lang's podcast, it is a failure on their writing.
I saw that. I'm like,
I'm
yep.
surprised that Marvel did not like get Paul Rudd. It's like, hey, we need you to record like 10 episodes of a podcast.
You think he
for
would
us."
totally do that?
He would
You
totally
think that he
Yes,
would.
100%.
I mean, we're still early.
Yeah, I mean that's
Yeah.
true. It could still happen. But I mean that's going to be
Oh.
the end of the show. The last episode is going to be like Paul Rudd coming on to interview Miss Marvel.
Yes.
Exactly.
But no, I'm really curious to see how they're going to integrate this Miss Marvel with Monica Rambeau,
Mhm.
who we had from
WandaVision.
WandaVision, with Carol Danvers, because those are the Marvels that will
Yeah.
be in the movie. So I'm looking
That-
forward to seeing how it plays out.
The actress, though, the young actress, is very good.
I had
Yeah.
to pull her up because I kept commenting this as I'm like, she's really cute. She seems like age appropriate. I had to do a little research. Her name is
She's really
Emma
easy to get.
Yeah.
Villani.
Amon Villani.
Yeah. She's really
So-
easy to get attached to.
She is, and I finally found it because it's not on her IMDb. But she's 19, so she's only a few years off from the actual age. But I see why they would do that, because they can work her like an adult at
Yeah.
19. But she still has
That's
the
the same
proper.
with the Stranger Thing actors.
Yeah, she has.
They're
that look.
20.
Yeah, they can work them like adults
They are.
now.
But she
Um,
has a great look to her that feels age appropriate, and she
Yeah.
really does a good job with it.
I like how she also
I liked her
calls
right
out-
away.
I've seen her on red carpets, and she calls out Kevin Feige, going, "It's like, yeah, the MCU isn't Marvel 616. The comics is Marvel 616. The MCU is Marvel 19999." And it's like, I don't care what he says, because
I love it.
the MCU has a different universe designation in comics than
Yeah.
it does in
Yeah.
what his own has. So
I love that
she-
she is one of us. She is a geek.
she knows it. Yeah, she knows her stuff.
So there's one little minor thing. There is a sequence maybe it's in episode 2, and I'm not going to talk about the sequence, but there's a piece of music used that is inappropriate, and it's a cute sequence. But man, why is it these people? And I'm an older director compared to a 16-year-old, and I know if you're going to do a certain kind of like sequence with a kid, you get music that's appropriate to that kid's age. There's a song. There's a song from like the 60s in the second episode.
I know what sequence you're talking about, but
And I'm
I
like-
didn't think it was inappropriate.
I feel like it doesn't match the rest of the show because the show is
not,
so
not like
Not like a
like-
lyrics are
No,
explicit kind
not
of
like-
deal.
Yeah, no, it's like the show is so modern
I
and
got
so 90s Disney young people.
It's like
skewed.
watching Captain Marvel, but having the soundtrack to like.
But it
Well, but no,
Guardians.
Captain Marvel makes sense because Captain Marvel is a character out of time.
Yeah.
I
She is a
disagree
16-year-old
with you.
kid. If she's going to have a good time with music, it should be something that's age appropriate, unless you set her up as a retro kid, and she is not.
but
It could be what her parents are listening to. 'Cause
Yes,
I was
if it
forced to
was-
listen
if
to
it was
radio when
something-
my parents were driving, and I knew
I-
older songs.
if
because
it was
of that.
something, but I could relate to that because I could be in life situations and have a song like that playing in my head.
Yeah, but why? But if you talk to a 16-year-old, they're not going to immediately pull a song from the 60s in their life situation. They're going to pull a song from.
I mean,
last
I
week.
was sitting there pulling
I
Beatles
know,
songs,
but they don't set
like-
her up as that. I know you're projecting onto it, but they don't set her up as that kind of character, though. They set her up as a very modern young
Depends.
girl.
Was it an AC/DC song because she likes superheroes? So Iron Man.
No, I'd be down with that, but it was
No.
not.
It was a,
All
it
right,
was a
we'll
song
find that
fit
out.
the
Yeah, we'll
scene,
find
you'll
that
see
out when
it.
we
Yeah,
watch
you guys
the
watch
second
it,
episode.
and we'll find out what you guys
Circle
think.
back next week and fill me in.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
I
otherwise,
do-
I'm excited for the next episode and to see where it goes.
I probably won't go back to it, but not because it's bad. It's really, really good, and I'm happy it exists. It's the weirdest feeling. I haven't had a feeling like that in a long time.
Well, it
That
might
I
be
know
good
it's
fluff to
not
play.
for me, but it's good.
It might be good fluff to play in the black background if you were doing something.
Well, it'll be one of those things where I don't watch it for weeks,
Mhm.
and then if I hear it's still going really good, I let it just play probably 3 or 4
Yeah.
episodes back.
Yeah,
to
that
back.
makes
That's
sense.
probably what'll happen. Yeah. But yeah, I'm glad it's good because honestly, I haven't liked, other than Hawkeye, I haven't liked anything else. So that's pretty cool. All right, so let me pull the script back up so I can see what we're
It's
doing. here.
me.
Are we still doing more stories?
Yeah, but
30.
I have a short one.
Yeah.
So
Okay, go for it.
Netflix is staging a real life Squid Game series that's billed as the biggest reality competition ever. The streamer announced a reality TV production based on its global dystopian smash at the Banff World Media Festival on Tuesday. While the stakes won't be life or death, which Squid Game, the challenge, will have 456 players competing in a series of games for the chance to win $4.56 million. Netflix claims the payout is the largest lump sum cash prize in TV history, although Fox's X Factor has previously given out recording contracts worth $5 million, and that the show likewise also sports the largest competition series cast ever assembled.
I feel like I understand conceptually.
Bruh,
All right.
I was not done.
All right.
Yeah.
Squid Game took the world by storm with its captivating story and iconic imagery. The reality competition will consist of 10 episodes, one more than the first season of the dramatic series, and also released a teaser video announcing the second season of Squid Games officially renewed.
So yeah, it's like it feels like you missed the point of Squid Games, but also it's such a no-brainer to do a game show based on Squid Games that I can't
Yeah.
fault them for it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like I've dabbled, like I've looked at some of their game shows before. And it's weird to say this about game shows because it's a game show, but they all look so damn cheap to me. It just looks like hot garbage. So I
I
just
saw the
tap
first episode of The Floor is Lava, and that's
And
it.
we
looked
were
awful.
done. Yeah.
yeah.
And even
The
some of
only-
their other reality shows that aren't really like gaming competitions, but like Is It Cake or Nailed It? It's like,
Yeah. The only one of those that's actually really good is one that they don't produce. They just bought it, which is the Great British Bake Off. That one's
yes,
actually
and that's
really
phenomenal.
good.
Yeah.
It is phenomenal. And then Nathan and I have a guilty pleasure. We binge watch The Circle.
I was gonna
Yeah.
say, wasn't the circle one of theirs?
Yeah.
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 We binge watched the shit out of that one when I was in Orlando.
Yeah.
And it was pretty entertaining.
This
But-
last season was really good.
But that one's one that doesn't have to look good, really, because
Yeah.
it's all in one room. You're in like an apartment. It kind of looks like Big Brother to me, and
Yeah.
it's fine. Yeah. So I don't know if I hear the competitions are somehow clever, they would have to be really clever. That's
Yeah.
the thing. It can't come off like Ninja Warrior, which is kind of what it could. Not as aggressively athletic,
I mean,
but
I'm sure
like
there'll be
working
stuff like
mazes
that.
and stuff like
But
that.
it's 496 people competing for $4.96 million, or
Yeah, it is a curiosity.
465.
yeah.
How do you get rid of that many people? You know, because there'll be that culling.
Well,
That's the first couple of episodes.
Yeah, I was gonna say the show killed a lot, so there's always
Like
that.
that verse, it'd be red light, green light.
Yeah.
The fact that we're not like playing to the death kind of turns me off. It's like,
Yeah, right? Thank you.
come
Well,
on.
Well, and we've been signed
Also,
on
they
for
can't-
season
They
2.
can't do the games that were on the show because we'll know how to play those.
That's true. That's a good point. People know how to win those games already.
I know how to play red light, green light. So
Now, if it's entertaining, if it's like The Circle, which is surprisingly entertaining sometimes, that you could have it running in the background, like you said, maybe.
I just
We'll
know that
see.
they're going to add drama to it, and it's going to be like Survivor, where people are going to be sneaky, and
Oh, well, then
they're
Nathan
going
and I will
to-
submit a video.
Yeah. They're
I mean-
going to create some kind of dramatic storyline between two of the contestants or groups of contestants, and
boy.
it's
I've
gonna
already
be
looked at the casting
bullshit.
site, so it's going to be shot in the UK.
I'll go to
I thought
UK.
I thought you were looking to apply. Apply, Nathan. Get on
Yeah.
it. Do it.
I applied to several shows.
And Nathan and I are going to shoot our Amazing Race video this weekend, so you guys have to help us come up with a concept.
Okay.
We're going to shoot our submission video Saturday. All right. Well, I think most of us. Nico, you didn't say whether you'd watch it or not.
No, I don't care. I have no kidding.
All right, coming out this week on Blu-ray, Morbius. It's Morbin time. Everybody excited to get morbed? Because it's out, baby. It's in a Blu-ray, a 4K, and a steelbook.
I had wonderfully forgot that movie existed.
I haven't.
Thanks.
I can't forget because the internet just loves saying it's Morbid time so much.
It's the best.
well, because
It,
like Sony put it back in theaters last
yeah.
week. I don't remember. I don't think it was this weekend. It was the weekend before or something like that. And it bombed so hard when it came
Again.
back in theaters. And it's like,
Again.
and it felt like the internet trolled Sony.
yeah,
And it's hilarious.
it is hilarious. I told Zach that Morbius has now become the new Smurf language because you just replace every other word with morb,
Yeah.
and that's kind of where we are. All right, so Father Stew is out this week. That looks like shit. Ambulance is out in a Blu-ray and a 4K, and that movie also is not good. The Raiders of the Lost Ark 4K Steelbook is out, and I'm pissed off because it's really beautiful. Benedetta is out, holding for the 4K on that one, and the Final Destination 5 film collection is out this week.
Not gonna lie, I'm tempted for the Final Destination.
I'm
If it
tempted
goes cheap
for-
enough, I'll probably pick it up.
Yeah.
I'm tempted for Raider Steelbook.
So I'm annoyed about that because I bought the box set, and the box set, the movies look beautiful in 4K. The box set is not pretty. That Raiders Steelbook is the original poster art, and it is gorgeous. And it is only $24, which is not
yeah.
bad for a 4K Steelbook. Yeah. And you know they're going to put all the others out too.
Yeah.
So I'm annoyed. All right. Nico, did you have time to pull us comics?
Nope. I'm reading. I've talked about on the show a lot about how much I really love Marvel Unlimited, and I need to get on other subscription services. I know DC has one, but I'm also don't care about DC as much. I
Right.
really can't recommend Marvel Unlimited enough. It's like $11 a month, and
Is
if
that
you
what I was
want
about to ask you what the cost is?
Yeah, it's like $11 a month, and you can do cheaper if you get a year at a time. But if you want to read Miss Marvel, you can read pretty much all of it on there. I've been trying to keep up with like my current runs in like Thor, which is really good. Daredevil's been a lot of fun. The new Hulk run by Donny Cates is really interesting. Spider-Man, I'm following up on. It's wrapping up all the Ben Riley stuff, so it's about to catch up to where the creative team changes over. It's a really handy service for just reading
I should
books.
really sign up for that because I've been digging through my Comixology and reading some old stuff, but I've been kind of wanting to read some new stuff, but it just feels like so expensive. Whereas $11 a month is not.
Yeah, I know
bad.
Comixology has their unlimited program, and I need to look a little bit more into that in terms of the cost for that and what you get out of it. But in terms of just Marvel books, which is most of what either of us would read, is Marvel. It's a really good deal going for the Marvel Unlimited one. There are a few indie books that I would be interested in checking for other options. DC does not have as many ongoing titles that would really interest me in subscribing. Like,
Exactly.
yeah, so I don't know, but it's worth it because the moment I've read 3 comic books on Marvel Unlimited, I've paid for
You paid for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I may have to just do it because I've been wanting to read some new stuff. And I know that just buying an individual book, like, it's hard for me to justify it now because I look at the cost of the individual book on Comixology and it's the same
It's like
price as the
$3.99,
paper.
$4.99. Yeah,
And I'm like, I feel the same way as I do about movies. And I'm like, if I'm going to spend $4 or $5 for a digital copy, I should just go to the store and buy a physical one. And then I'm going down a rabbit hole that's going to end up kicking me in the ass as far as space.
Comixology's also had some shady stuff going around with its options to buy comics through its app because of the whole it is owned by Amazon situation. Mm-hmm. So I think Amazon is eventually going to fold Comixology to just be in Kindle and end it as its own standalone service at some point, probably in the next year or two. So,
I keep getting afraid they're going to do that with Audible also, and that's terrifying. I like that Audible is still kind of its own thing.
Yeah, I'd be kind of concerned about that too. So I don't know how that's going to go, but Marvel Unlimited is its own straight up thing. It's from Marvel, so that's not a problem.
Yeah. I'm on book 4 of The Expanse, by the way, Tina. So I'm reading books.
Yay!
I'm with it so far.
I've read 33 books this year.
Oh my God, you've read almost as many books as I've seen movies. Shit. All right, let's bring this thing to an end. I really gotta pee.
Yep.
Nathan, where do we find you on the internet, sir?
Instagram, Nate_R_70.
Choking on it.
Yep.
Nico?
You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd under Nico Scream, NIKOSCREAM, and follow our dog at the.shadow.pup on Instagram.
That's right. And also on TikTok too, right?
Yes. You can follow me at pretty much any major social media site under Cheddar Popper, CHEDR, and the Shadow Pupper on TikTok.
Nice. So follow me on Letterboxd. You can stay caught up with the Pushing 100 project, where I'm trying to see 100 movies in theater this year. And I usually write something about each movie. I have not written a review for Pleasure yet because I'm still struggling with what to say about that movie. It's something. It's a movie about a young woman who moves to the United States to be a porn star. So there's that. And then Off the Shelf Movie Night on YouTube, OTS Movies on TikTok. And let's talk about stuff. All right, I guess that brings us to an end. We'll see you next week.